everything. So once you sign in, you probably have to just kind of scroll down to the bottom. You'll see this Real Scout page tile right here. Go ahead and click that, and that'll take you to your Real Scout dashboard. And what I'll kind of briefly explain what Real Scouts is, because you're probably going, okay, this is what Real Scouts does. This is what Syncs does as well. Well, Real Scouts, its main thing is it's a platform for your customers, your consumers, and your clients to search for homes. That's pretty much their main specialty, is providing a home search in a professional package similar to like really popular third-party sites such as Zillow and Realtor.com. So they do have like their own CRM and a couple other things which we'll get into, but this is the reason being for the Real Scouts. And like I mentioned, with Sync, you do have CRM and home searches as well. But you know, some consumers or some agents might like the way the Sync system does the CRM, but not the way it does its home searches, or vice versa. There might be some things that you prefer other than other things. So Realty One Group, you know, they provide multiple ways, multiple systems for you to really get a tailor-made type system for you and your clients to use what you prefer. So this gives you the other option that if you like it more, you can use this for the home search or a landing page for buying searching for your consumers and your clients. Real Scouts, I was using Real Scouts prior to the Sync system that came out, and I recommended it a lot before Sync. And I still do like the Real Scouts buying platform. I think it's really presentable, really professional, to where it matches like the Zillow. And the reason I keep bringing that up is because the way it is, you know how they say the attention spans of the consumers these days are super, you know, short. You only have so much to give them, but you can't give them too much because then they'll gloss right over it and then you lose them as a potential client or a potential lead. The way Real Scouts has its package is it gives everything in just the right amount of information to where they don't, like, to the consumer. And here I'm showing you what it looks like if I were to send an email out to I'm a buyer, for example. Here's what's going to look like. So immediately you'll see how it's similar to Zillow and Realtor.com, except that this is completely branded to you. That's the good thing about Real Scouts platform, is once you put your information in, it's just all your branding. Now there are the limitations of where when you have a home, they still have to do what's required by NAR and the board, where it says listing provided by the brokerage. But other than that, it still has all your branding right there on the top left side and throughout the listings as well. So you see that right here. So this is what a buyer would see if you sent them a listing. For example, they have the homes. I think I messed with the map here in just a minute. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, let me zoom back in. So the homes on the left side in the map, so you can get an understanding of where it is exactly that's located. And once they click on it, this is what they're presented. So as you can see, it does look a lot like Zillow and Realtor.com. So it's pretty presentable that way. The reason I like it as well, it has the pictures up top, it has the description. It provides the prescription and all the information, like the single family residence, bedrooms, and it separates all of them into little bite-sized nuggets. So as you scroll down, as the clients scroll down, their eyes have ease of access into looking into that key information without being like, you know, too much at the same time, without like a fire hose, you know, they say that example. So they can really get that in bite-sized nuggets, and it's easily retainable in their mind. So the other thing that the Real Scouts buying platform does that's pretty universal is they have an AI system for their picture captures. So when a listing gets uploaded into, and they pull everything from the local MLS, so they're really fast. Their stuff updates the same time the MLS updates, so the data is always up to date. And what they do with their AI program from the photos, when a house gets listed into the MLS and they pull it, they actually have it designed to where it pulls everything of like the exterior, the front of the house first. I have to move this bar here. And then it pulls it all in together, like there's the front porch, and then you have the living room, and then it'll go into the kitchen right here. So if you had an MLS listing that came up and the photos are everywhere, kind of scrambled or weren't organized properly, Real Scouts will actually go ahead and do that automatically. So it all aggregates into the proper flow of the house. So you'll notice here that it's all separated like that. So that's their AI package that they do with that. So it's pretty cool they do that. Like I mentioned, most of their power comes from their search engine, their search platform. So that's just a brief overview of what it looks like for your client. I have this as like, I made myself a client. So this is what it would look like. If you notice here as well, actually I'll get into this in just a bit about the interested and uninterested. Kind of jumping the gun a bit. So let's go back to the dashboard. So now you see what it looks like to the client and how it presents itself in a professional but very clean way. Here's the dashboard. So this is what you would be presented if you're the agent and you're using this Real Scout system. So see here that I kind of have a news feed of my clients and what they're doing today and what they've been doing, which is super cool because some CRMs, they don't provide you anything. So you may not notice if you have a hot buyer, as some would call, or someone that's cold or someone's interested in something. For example, if here you'll notice that my client John ROGS is not interested in Golden Pond Drive, and he did this 2 minutes ago, or he is interested in this one. So I can see exactly what they like about the homes, what homes they're looking at. I can see, oh, they opened my email. This is what they saw. Here I can get really in depth if my client said, hey, I really like the aesthetics, but I don't like the neighborhood. So that can give me a pretty good idea of what my client is really interested in. Because a lot of times what will happen is if you have a lead or something, they'll just kind of spew out some general information and like, oh, of course, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, open floor plan in this price range. And like, okay, well, there's a lot more that goes into a house than just that. And, they may not think about it then, but if they're viewing homes and they start, typing in or clicking what they really like about it, that gives them and yourself an idea of what they really enjoy. So you can kind of home in on that information and provide a really detailed report for them, or start hand picking out houses and what they feel is like, wow, my agent really knows what I want, and he's doing this before I can even, see it myself. So it's a really powerful tool to use it in that feature. So in the dashboard as well, this is where you'll add the client. You'll add a client right here. Just click on that button. It's the same thing. It'll be John, or whichever. Just use my name, for example, John Taylor. Their emails. They can have their phone number in as well, and their source. For me, I just did sphere of influence, and then you can also have it to where their financial information as well, which is important for the CRM aspect and the CRM feature. The next step is who will set up the listing alert. If this is for, if you want to set it up, you'll go ahead and click me, and that'll be just getting their emails, sent to them once you're done finishing with the search, which we'll get into in just a bit. Or you can have them set it up as well. That's going to be a case-by-case basis, kind of what you think would be best. Sometimes, clients might want through an open house and say, oh, I'm looking for something. Do you have a system I can use? And he's like, yeah, let me just shoot this over for you, and you can, set up the search yourself. The good thing is Real Scout does actually have an actual app platform within the App Store for both iPhone and Google. It's not just like a web browser and you put it in their homepage. It's an actual app. So once you add them as a client, or they add themselves on a client with the desktop version, then they can go into the app, and what they'll say is when they sign up, it's like, okay, who are you a client of? And you'll say, I'm a client of, John Taylor, and then they'll match the email address information with the agent, and if everything syncs, then they'll get access to the actual app on their phone, which provides a lot of information for them as well. It's very similar, and it's again going that extra step to really present that professional third-party aesthetic, I guess, if you will, like what you're doing type deal. So that's a way to add them right there. You can also add alert, which is if you want to just do a quick change in one of your clients as well right there. Also in the dashboard, if I scroll to the right-hand side, it actually breaks down recent client conversations. So if some client was viewing a home and sent a message, a question about the home, you can see it right there as well. And also what will happen is if they do have a question about the home or a conversation, you'll actually get a message in the platform and in an email as well. So you'll be notified immediately if that takes place. And then, it goes back, 3 months ago when I originally did the Real Scouts training here locally in Camarillo, had information right there. But, as you can tell, this goes back way back. So if you needed, to really dial in on a consumer, you can find that right there. The next portion of the dashboard in my account, and of course, you want to do, when you go to my account and make it, you'll go ahead and, set up your profile and your bio and all that with your headshot and your MLS number, so it has all the data it can pull from. So here's my client dashboard. This is the CRM aspect of it. It's not as powerful as Sync, but Sync really, its specialty is the CRM aspect versus Real Scouts is the buyer consumer aspect. So you'll see here that with this, here's my 2 clients that I have, and it gives me a broad overview. Emails open, when did I add this, how did this go on? But if I click on the client, Then I can really get into the preferences of them and see exactly what they're looking at. I can also get into the client details. And here's where I can write notes, add mobile numbers, you know, typical CRM stuff. And you can really get in there and dial it down to them right there. So that's pretty simple for the client side of things. There's something I wanted to mention on here. Oh yeah, the export clients. What I like about the Real Scouts 2 is as well is if you have your database in here, they've made it super simplified to export that information out to any other CRM system, which is going to be the export all clients right there. So really easy. Compared to Moxie was kind of difficult. You had like 3 or 4 or 5 steps. And I remember because I did that for a lot of agents where right here it's just like boom, bang, you're done. So we'll get into the search system. This is like the meat and potatoes, some would say, you know, the bread and butter of everything that this goes on. If you notice immediately, this is all going for California right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, you know, pretend I'm making this search for one of my clients. So he's probably going to want only active homes, for example. Property subtype, I don't really know what he's looking for in that. I know he's not industrial, but we'll just leave that alone. List price, I'm going to be like the ideal client. I'm going to say minimum 500,000 to whatever, you know, as long as it matches my home that I need. And then we can do bedrooms. We'll do 3, minimum, bathrooms 2, typical stuff. Don't really want to worry about the living area just yet, since I'm just using it for an example. We can even do room types. You know, all bedrooms are upstairs, all bedrooms are downstairs. Maybe there's a studio, things like that. You know, this can get really in depth to where you're fine tuning that for your client. Year built, land lease, that's typical for searches. But we also have locations, which I'm going to do Camarillo. If I start typing that in, it should present it here. And this isn't the site being slow. This is my computer. This is like it's just doing a lot right now, so it's chugging along. But we can even get to MLS, area, postal codes. The school also has a feature for school and boundaries, but I want to let you know that this using a search function that has a school location, you can kind of get into some rough territory, and it's probably best not to base a search off the school's boundaries and territories, because the last thing you would want is and this is an example that's happened from what I've seen, is you had a buyer that came into this house thinking they were going to be a part of this school system, but in reality they weren't, or there was a change later on in the future, and then it comes back to you saying, well, I would have never bought this house if my child was not going to be going to this school. So basing it off that, I would be very careful and suggest probably not to do it that way. It is good information you can provide, you know, on extra, but again, I would probably, you know, really think about if you really want to do it that way, just, you know, avoid that situation as a whole. But we get into the features of the house, like garage features, parking features, pool features, waterfronts, lot features, fireplace, anything you name it, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Look at all this for fireplace. I didn't know there was this much features for fireplace, but there is apparently. And then you can have listing dates and open houses. You can even have, if, you know, I don't want any open houses being sent to my clients, or I do want them to be sent to my clients if it comes to me first. Depending on that, you have a ton of information. But the one thing I really like about the Real Scouts platform is down here, there's add and remove search options. So you can actually even add more stuff to filter out. And look at, you see all this right here. I don't even know what some of these means. Buyer office key numeric, buyer office name. I mean, that's probably for industrial and commercial, but you know, you get what I'm saying. One of the cool things is the public remarks option here. And so a lot of times what I've found is that if you're looking for a home, and if it's sometimes it's brand new to the listing, you know, agents make mistakes if they have a lot going on, and they'll forget to add a public feature. They'll forget to check mark a feature in the MLS when they're uploading it, but they'll write it in the public remarks. And for example, you see up here, I have 94 results for the houses I was looking for originally, but I've come into the public remarks, and what this is doing is it's for every listing that's giving me, it's scanning the public remarks for what I'm about to type right now, which is open floor plan. So it's going to check for me if any of the houses have an open floor plan via the public remarks. So I'm still at 94. Let's see here. Should not go. Oh, it didn't go through for some reason. Open floor. Okay, so I went from 94 down to 10 results right here. So now this is presenting me everything with the open floor plan that was in the public remarks. So I can go in here and go ahead and view results. Click on that. And so this is still me and the consumer side of things. I'll just double check all these here. Okay, yeah, this is an open floor plan. It's got little stairs, but for the most part, it is very open. And so that's the cool thing as well. Your imagination kind of go with that. And there's going to be some leeway. There's going to be some give and take because this is just searching the public remarks, but it does have that's a really cool feature that Real Scouts has that not a lot of other search engines incorporate to their search fields. So that's kind of the rough overview of the search. And what I want to do here, I'll have a chat. 1 second. Let me see what's going on. Can you please show how you would add a husband and wife? So if you would add husband and wife, I would probably do it, let's see, if they would have separate emails or they would want, let me try here. Now, Alicia, so I can better understand your question, would you want them husband and wife in the same email, or would they have separate emails and you have individual alerts to them?
So the same content, I would be sending the same content to each of them.
Okay.
But when I went in to add a new client, it only gave me like first name, last name, and then an email. I don't know if that's going to just title one of their names, or is it, because I think it gives you an option to put separate emails.
Yeah, it in the details right here, but yeah, I get what you're saying, where if it's say my name's John, but it's going to my wife as well, it's just gonna say John unless you title it, John and the wife, because you'll have the additional contacts right here. I'm not sure if it separates the name. I mean, I know it does email, I'll send to both of them, but that's something I'll go ahead and play with that myself and see what I can get for an answer with that. And then I'll let you know how that works out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I'll let you know. I'll get with that after this here. But then we'll go ahead and jump into the messages. This is where it's going to be, as I mentioned earlier, if I'm the client, for example, and just I pretended that I was. And so here what I did is say, oh, I'm interested in this one. I like these features. I don't like this feature here. This is what I like about this house. And then I left a message right here saying, is this vacant? And then I asked for a showing date as well for Wednesday. So how that looks like on the agent side of things is I get a notification and an email, and you'll see on the dashboard. And it prevents saying, is this vacant? 28 Village Drive. Right here. So it immediately presents the house they have the question on or the feedback on. And then right here, you can even, as an agent, you can even have a message for clients as well. So when they view it, you can be like, hey, this one made me think of you guys, or this might be good for your dog or your pets. And also right here it says suggested showing dates. So I can see if I was an agent saying, okay, they're probably open on this date. Let me get some information about this house. Let me try to answer the question. And then when I talk to my clients, I noticed you also wanted to see it on June 3rd, tomorrow. I've already set up a showing time. Does this work for you? Or, some different showing times. So you can get ahead of the curve, ahead of the ball, so your client can be like, wow, super impressed. So that's where all your messages are going to show up right there. On the Market 360 type thing, this is where I don't have any listings, but I do have access to the office listings. This is just going to be for you pretty much for the most part. You're going to be looking at your office listings. If anything matches for your clients, for your agents, you can kind of see it in here and then send it their way if you want to. But that's just, a little extra feature they have going on. The clients won't have access to this. Then we go to disclosures. This is pretty much just for you as well. These are like documents, CRM features. But the cool thing is, though, is Real Scouts does provide a landing page, and it's just one landing page, and it's just for a buyer perspective. So not like how much is your house worth, anything like that. It's going to be like, are you looking for houses in this price range in Camarillo with an open floor plan? That's going to be the most part of this. So you'll see here that it gives you options for your social media. It shows you how to do it. It has integrations, if I can say it as well. So you do set up where it's Zillow, Realtor.com, Contactually, Facebook, Zapier, Spacio, things like that. If you do get a lead from there, it'll automatically plug it into the CRM aspect and let you know those other integrations. I did ask if they had any future plans or current plans of integrating with Sync. Real Scouts was on a town hall last week, and so I was out there asking questions, trying to get that for you guys. And they said at this time they don't, but they may look into it if there's more of a need for it. So unfortunately, they're not with Sync at this time. But here we have widgets. I don't really use widgets all that much. This is going to be if you're plugging in like to your website, not Sync. I mean, you could, but it would be when we get into like the HTML script side of things. That's if you're really like you're the webmaster. You can get into the back end of things, and you'll see like just this is what the whole website looks like if you're really editing it. So you may not want to use this unless it's really easy for you to access it with a website provider. You may send a message, but again, you already have a search platform. If you're using Sync and you like it, you may not want to do this. But here's the landing page that I was talking about. So this is the landing page that Real Scouts provides to you. This is going to be a lead capture as well. So it's pretty much very simple. Find your dream home, start searching now. So I'll type my neighborhood to school, and then it will ask them, okay, give me some of your information. Like, do you want email or phone number? How do you want these emails? Are these listings being sent to you? And you can change the photo. Like I hear I'm customizing it. This is what it looks like. But again, like front end customizing. My information, if I had like my license number, but this is just my office phone number, my brokerage. You can change the photo, you can change the verbiage, you can change this right here. So just really easy, clean, simple edits, and it's just like a really simple landing page, which is kind of what you want when you're taking somebody. Like the main experience I have with that is from Facebook ads. If you're taking somebody from Facebook, you want to make sure that it's a really clean transition, because one of the top things that people would immediately exit out of is if you come from like a really clean looking Facebook site onto like a website and it's kind of all over the place, then that just screams, oh, I'm going to get scammed or I'm going to get a virus. Even though they're not, to them, they're so ingrained in their mind that it's like, this is just not what I signed up for. And before you can even ask for lead capture, they're already out. They're saying, okay, next, on to the next one. So really clean, really simple and presentable. You know exactly what they're getting into when they get into it, and they can again get that lead capture right there. And then you do have support. What's cool about this is they provide a lot of tutorials and forums. You have using Real Scouts, for example. They have videos, how to manage everything you need to know if you want to get really in-depth with Real Scouts. It's all right there as well. I didn't notice this COVID-19 related article, agent sources, home buyer, frequently asked questions, things like that. And the support team is pretty active as well. They get back to you pretty fast if you have a question, which I may be doing that after this video. I'll see if I can find out about that clients. But that, in a nutshell, that's pretty much the use of Real Scouts and what it can provide for you as another option for buying platform for you and your clients. That's something you guys are interested in, because I know with Sync, it's very comprehensible, or it's very, I don't know if that's the right term for it, but it's a big, powerful machine, so you got to put a lot into it. For Real Scouts, as long as you have your profile information correct, you can already start, getting into the buying side of things for your buyer clients. So it's kind of a give and take what you prefer, what your clients prefer. But that's pretty much the basis of the Real Scouts. So right now, I'll open up it to questions. I know, Alicia, you had your question, which I'll get working on afterwards if I can find out. But if there's anything else, feel free to either ask me here. There's not much people, which feel free to talk up, or in the chat if you want.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if I would to send this to a client, it goes out like an email? Is that how it? Okay.
So it depends actually on if their client wants a text as well. They do have that option to do that. Also, their app could give them a notification as well. Depending on that, will be on the client side of things. Like, oh, this is how I want to be notified, and also their phone settings as well. But I'll show you. So, for example, if I did one earlier. So say this search right here, right? So I went to my John ROGS client, and I have him as he is. Let me see if I get here. Listing alerts. I have him as handpicked, so you'll see this right here is I'm going to be choosing what listings go to him versus like usually what you can have, and I'll probably get into this right now, is they have the feature as like all MLS searches have is like if a house gets uploaded that matches that client's criteria, it automatically gets emailed to them as soon as possible. They have that. They have it daily, weekly, whichever time interval you want. But they also have handpicked, which means I will actually handpick the listings before I send it to them. So you'll notice that there wasn't a send email button, but now that I've clicked some that I want, I can do it that way. And here I'll type in, hey, these came up on the market. You should check them out. And of course, you know, you probably won't write something way better than this. But so
Okay, cool.
and then you'll see here, it's okay, and then I'll come to my email. It should get here rather quickly. So I got it on my phone already, but like I said, this computer is a little ancient. Here it is. So see how that was less than 20 seconds the email went out?
Right.
And here it is. And so what's cool about the email, so I actually thank you for bringing this question up, because this is how it looks like in the email. So it's super simplified, and they can actually look right here. Instead of just having a link and they have no idea what they're getting into, they actually have these images that come up, and also your branding at the bottom there right now as well. So say, oh, wow, this one looks really cool. Let me check it out. So this is what your client's looking at. Once it loads, boom, you're here. Okay, oh, maybe it's not as good as I thought. Let me go to the next listing, which is already conveniently right there as well. Oh, this one looks good. And they have all the same features of, oh, I like this one, don't like it, things like that, interested. And you'll get notified as an agent as well when that takes place.
I see. So if you wanted to have them upload the app, you'd have to send them a different link, and then they would request you that way. Is that how you're saying?
Yeah, so the best way I've had experience with it is you'd set them up here first, and then if they like it, you can say, oh, I also have an app if you want that as well. And so you can either send it through the system here, or you can have them search for it in their app store, and it's just called Real Scout. And then they get it once they download the app, then you'll have like a login information, and once that's hooked up, then they're synced to all platforms via desktop and mobile or app.
I see.
But yeah, that's pretty much the basis of the Real Scout system right there. So anybody have any other questions? If not, I'll go ahead and start saving this recording, or I can upload it to the other agents that didn't make it. All good, Rhonda?